Like, we don't have to burn witches anymore. We just teach women how to hate themselves. Like, we used to burn witches because the world was threatened by the power. They weren't witches, they were women. They were powerful women. And you burnt witches because they were a threat. And so women can be a threat. Women in their power, women who love themselves, women who radiate are threatening to our culture. And so you don't want a threatening woman. You just create this like story that there is, that there is always something to be fixed. There is something broken.
Yo, lovers. Welcome to Sex, Love, and everything in between. We're the O'Neills. You're here with Meg and Jacob.
And this is the place we have really uncensored conversations about sex, intimacy, and relationships. We're super excited you're here. Enjoy this episode.
Hey, baby mama.
Hey.
Big Daddy. Yeah. Hey, lovers.
Is that what you want me to call you from now on?
That is all I've ever wanted to be called. Since a young age, all I wanted to be called was Big Daddy.
From who?
From lovers, from my followers, from people who listen to podcasts that I'm on. I would love to be referred to
Big Daddy.
Moving forward as Big Daddy.
Big Daddy, okay.
Yep.
Hey, Big Daddy.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to get a shirt made for me or...
I'm kind of into calling you Daddy lately. Like, you've been buying me clothes and things. And
yes.
that's actually been kind of fun.
Has it?
Yeah.
You love to be dominated, don't you?
I love to be dominated.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that lately.
What are you called? Cutie pie. Should we let everyone in on our... No.
Some things needed to speak for us.
Really? Is that what this podcast is about? Just things for us?
Not really. I don't think there's much we keep to ourselves.
No, not at all. But that is my preferred term. So if anyone is looking for a name for me, Big Daddy is it.
Big Daddy.
Yep. And you are Lil Mama.
Lil Mama.
Lil Mama.
Big Daddy and Lil Mama. We're back. Big Daddy and Lil Mama.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. We are here in the podcast room today.
Yeah, we actually just started recording an episode and then...
Guess what?
It stopped and we realised why, because, well, it didn't stop.
Because we had a fight.
No, the dog barked and then I wanted to stop and have
I didn't want to stop.
And you didn't want to stop. But it's all for a reason, because a deeper topic wanted to come through.
If you ever question why things are happening to you, just know that there's a greater story at play, and it'll all make sense on the other side of the challenge that you're currently going through.
That is the truth. And sometimes people are in a state where that is not the right thing to say to people.
Yes.
I look back at like my early 20s when I was first in the world of spirituality, and I would definitely say that to people.
Just think your way out of it, bro.
Like, it's happening for a reason. Like, this is for you. Like, please don't say that to people when they're in deep pain.
Yeah, that's not very compassionate.
No, it's not.
There's a time and place.
Anyway, we weren't in deep pain over the podcast, but it did happen for a reason, because there is a very vulnerable, fiery topic that
we're going to go there.
That's very alive for me right now, and I didn't think I was going to bring it for a little while, but...
I just realised something.
What did you realise? I'm feeling nervous.
Yeah, this is, like, now I'm actually... Any topic that, like, I've been sitting with my work recently, I'm like, I'm fucking a bit bored.
Yeah.
Talking about surface level stuff. And... yeah, I met up with a couple of bros from up the sunny coast, and they do different work, and they're really good at the content stuff online. And I'm like, and one guy reflected back to me, he's like, yeah, you're like the fish that sits at the bottom of the ocean that no one ever really sees. Like, that's the depth of your work, bro. He's like, but sometimes you have to come up and like talk about stuff as well. You got to keep talking about the things. I'm like, yeah, but I just want to go deep. I want to talk
like
about the deep
fish that nobody sees.
You know, like the ancient fish that sits at the bottom that's just like lurking.
Because you're not creating the kind of content that's like 3 ways to.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. And that I feel that can, and I think that most people will go through a season of this where things start to get boring. But the topic that we were, it's relevant, and I think we're going to come back and offer some more teaching kind of content on that. But this topic right now, I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's go deep. Let's like really crack open Pandora's box.
I think we're going to be cracking open
Maggie's box.
Little mama's
box.
Okay, no.
But this is an important topic, and I think this is kind of, I feel like your journey has been leading you toward this.
Well, what unfolded yesterday, which I'll get into details, like...
You'll get the tea. Is that how you say that?
I don't know how to say that. That's a very common saying. I don't know how to say it.
Look at me, TikTok relevant. The 3 ways.
You're really handsy with that mic today.
Am I?
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Are you jealous of this mic, are you?
Yes, I am actually. Well, what unfolded yesterday was just like, I was already feeling, and we are going to get to the topic, we will see what it is in a moment, but I was already feeling like, I think I'm being called to speak to this thing. Like, it keeps coming up for me. It's very alive for me. I'm sure it's very alive for other women. And then something big happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, okay, I am being asked to speak on this topic. And the topic is around, I don't even know how to say it.
Image?
Like image?
Yeah.
Insecurity, beauty standards for women, all tied up into that. And for me, a few weeks ago, maybe it was only last week, I really started there are a few days where I felt really insecure. And I hadn't felt this level of insecurity around the way I looked in quite a long time. Actually, that's probably not true, because I had a hair drama about a year and a bit ago where a bunch of my hair fell out, and I had to go from being blonde to dark. And it just like, every time I looked in the mirror at my hair, there was almost just like this pang of like, oh. And I didn't realize how much my hair was just like big and thick and curly, and I would just get to wake up and, fling it to the side, and I would feel like it looked all right. And it was just a part of my image and part of my identity. And then a bunch of it fell out or broke off, and that really wobbled me, and that really wobbled me for a while. And anyway, last week, I was just feeling really insecure, and I have this rash on my face that I'm not too sure what it is. And I've been working with a few different things to like try and work out, and it's been there on and off for months. And that was really kind of just like present and annoying me. And then I hadn't gotten my hair done. I'm 31, but I'm very gray. I'm very gray. That even feels vulnerable to like share. I think I'm going to cry in this episode. Oh God.
This is big for you. Like I would argue that, ever since the hair thing, like this has been a journey for you. This has been who am I?
I just think it's, and I'll get into it soon, but I think as a woman, like what's been really coming up for me, and then I'm so fucking fired up from yesterday, is because I'm just seeing how much we're sold this story that like there's something constantly to be fixed within us, and constantly we have to be so hyper vigilant with like, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? And it's a fucking lie, and we're being deceived, but it can feel so real as a woman. It can feel so real. And, back to what I was saying around like, when I was blonde, I didn't know I was gray, or I saw a few and I was like, I couldn't tell I was gray. And then I went dark, and I'm so gray. I've got so many gray hairs. So I'm at this stage of my life, I don't want to show my grays or like be gray. So I'm getting my hair done. I just got my hair done today, but last week I could see a lot of grays. I had this rash on my face. I'm a woman that's choosing to age. So I'm not getting Botox. I'm not doing anything. So like I'm seeing the texture of my skin change. I'm seeing just myself aging. And then being pregnant, and like, I love my pregnant body naked, but then it's been challenging as it's gotten colder. I didn't have any clothes to wear. So I was just had these few days of being like, and I just like did not want to be seen. yeah, and it was just like such a, you know, I'm usually such a confident woman, and I feel like those things I didn't even know. It was so confronting to be with because I didn't know how much I was tied in letting that story and the beauty standards of our culture affect me. Like I would have said I was someone, even before the hair thing happened a year ago, I would have said I'm someone that doesn't really care about the way I look, or I'm not tied up in that. And that's not fucking true at all. And I don't think any woman is immune to that in our culture, right? Like there is literally just like from every fucking direction, you know, information or things telling this narrative telling us that like, you know, it's not safe to age. That really came up for me last week, how I was seeing like this, how much my value, the world has told me my value is intertwined with my beauty, and not even my beauty, my youthfulness. And so that was really like, it was almost like, what the fuck? I didn't know this story was here. You know, I thought I was just going to age and be okay with it.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And that's what's felt confronting, to be like, oh, wow, this is affecting me. Or wow, this feels, I can feel the part of me, and this is what the world fucking wants, right? I can feel the part of me that wants to contract and be small. That's what I felt last week. I was just like, even we had lots of social events on, and I was like, on Saturday, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want, like, there was this part of me that just didn't want to be seen, which, yeah, again, like the word I keep using is, it was really just confronting to be with, like my insecurity and this part of me that wanted to shrivel because I could see my gray hair, and because I felt my skin didn't look good, and because I felt like I didn't feel sexy. And yeah, this part of me that just wanted to be small. My love, if you are a woman that deeply desires to be claimed, cherished, chosen, ravished in partnership, whether you are currently in partnership or not, you are going to want to join me here on the Gold Coast in July. I am holding an in-person immersion for 3 entire days devoted to breathing down the walls of your heart, opening your body, liberating your expression, and becoming a woman able to be claimed, cherished, and chosen in partnership. I have not run an in-person event or a women-only event in a very long time, and given the baby I'm about to have, I will not for a while after this. So this is a very special opportunity to come and work with me in person with a very intimate amount of women. We are going to go deep. It is going to be an unforgettable 3 days. And if you are feeling the call to join us, come and apply ASAP. There is limited spaces. You're going to want to go to the link in the show notes or meg-o'neill.com/claimed-immersion, or just head to my Instagram. All the information is there. Can't wait to be with you. And so all of that was unfolding, and I had quite a few conversations with like some girlfriends around it, and we were, you know, talking about aging and yeah. And then yesterday I saw one of my really good friends at the markets, and we were having this conversation, and I was sharing with her how I'd gone through, you know, a few days of like feeling really insecure, and like, and she's a woman that's in her early 40s and is again choosing to age, and welcome her age. Ew, I had to sneeze. Bless you. And so we were just having that conversation around like the deception and the lies we as women are told about how we're constantly fed this story that something within us needs to be fixed. And then, guys, the culmination of the story is coming, and you're going to see how I was already feeling this thing of like, this has been really real for me. I think this is just something I need to speak into. I was even thinking of like within Full Spectrum Woman, potentially having someone to come on and speak about aging and just like, I could just feel it was a conversation that needed to be had. And then this is where my fire kicks in.
Here it comes.
And I also just want to bring context to when I was going through that insecurity and seeing that story that I was letting touch me, the story of, you know, you must feel sexy and youthful, or you must be beautiful to be able to take up space, right? I was just like feeling and seeing that. I was also then just like feeling this grief of like our world and women, like that so many women live, I would say many women in the Western world live with this story, right? And act on that story and let that story determine so much of their decision making and how they spend their money and what they value and all of these different things. So it was already just like being with more of the collective story around this. And then yesterday I was sitting alone having lunch at a cafe, and someone on Instagram messages me and says, hey, and sends me a screenshot of a woman's post and says, hey, I think this is you. Is this you? And it was a fucking injectable nurse.
Go there.
It was a fucking I was just going to say where it was, and I'm going to say where it was. I won't say at, but it was an injectable nurse from Mackay that had taken a screenshot of my mouth and put it on her Instagram stories. Put it as a tile post on Instagram and said, what did she say? It was something like, should we get it up?
I'll get it up and I'll read it out, and you unleash the fury.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Oh, I won't be.
Go nuts. Is a gummy smile something you can't miss when you see your picture? Don't put up with feeling self-conscious. We offer complimentary aesthetic consultations to discuss your concerns.
And they used, you can show, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but
it won't.
Guys, it was like, for those of you watching, it was like and it was an old photo. I don't know where they found this photo, but this person has found a photo of me, screenshotted just my mouth. And you guys know, I have a huge smile. I have a very gummy smile. You can see my gums. You can see my whole fucking mouth. I have a huge mouth when I smile. And this woman has screenshotted that and then basically said, if you feel self-conscious about this when you look in the mirror, right, come and have it fixed. And then I'm going to add then my bestie, Kristen Graham. Shout out to Kristen.
Shout out Kristen.d.graham.
I sent her and I was like, what the actual fuck? Because I immediately messaged this woman and just said, hey, because you said, oh, maybe she got the photo from someone else or something. So I just said, hey, where did you get access to this image in your latest post? She didn't write back. Kristen commented on the photo, this woman has a beautiful smile. And then the woman wrote back saying, yes, she has a beautiful contagious smile, but basically was bullied for it in school.
Yeah.
That is like, this woman is pretending I'm a client of hers. This woman is pretending she knows me, and it's clearly an image of me. It's so fucked up. It's just like on so many levels, it's so fucked up. And I know, like, it's so, you know what, just circling back when we say everything does happen for us and I know this
21-year-old Maggie coming through.
But this is just like, what the fuck? Of course that happened after I was already just in like deep contemplation and already feeling like the fire of this, of like what we have as women contend with in terms of beauty standards. And like, it wasn't, I at the cafe, I was like, what the fuck? And then I got in my car and I had a big cry. And it wasn't even me crying about my smile, because I fucking love my smile. That's like the thing I'm complimented on the most. Right? It was even interesting last week when I was having a day where I just felt like, ugh. I had a woman comment on my story being like, oh, you're like so radiant and so beautiful. And I messaged back being like, hey, I really needed that today. Thank you. Like that meant a lot. And then she said to me, oh, every time I look at your smile, I just think that is the world's best smile, or like that the world's a better place for that smile. And it's just so interested. So I wasn't, I know that this is one of my smile, my mouth, my gummy smile makes me such a radiant being. Right. And what I felt such a grief for yesterday when I was in the car was just, again, like how we are, what word am I looking for? We're like fucking hypnotized into believing there is constantly something wrong in our bodies and something to be fixed. And like, I forever will love this quote from my teacher, Layla Martin.
Shout out to Layla.
I heard her say years ago in the training I was in with her, and she said, we don't have to burn witches anymore. We just teach women how to hate themselves. And I truly believe that, like, we see that. And this has just like been so illuminated for me in the last week, how like we are living in this culture. And, I'm all women, do whatever the fuck you want. But it is true that like we are living in a culture which is constantly communicating to women that there is something like that they should hate themselves, that they should hate the way they look, that there's something wrong, that there's something to fix, that they're not allowed to love something until it looks like a fucking replica of perfection. And that is just like constantly holding women back from their power and like their truth and feeling okay. And it's like, I just forever will love that quote. Like, we don't have to burn witches anymore. We just teach women how to hate themselves. Like, we used to burn witches because the world was threatened by the power. They weren't witches, they were women. They were powerful women. And you burnt witches because they were a threat. And so women can be a threat. Women in their power, women who love themselves, women who radiate are threatening to our culture. And so you don't want a threatening woman. You just create this like story that there is, that there is always something to be fixed. There is something broken. And I'm just so, I didn't even know I'd ever want to be a voice for this, but like, this is just feeling so real for me right now. And like, again, I want to say, if you want to go get injectables, if you want to go do your thing, go do your thing. But like, do not tell, this woman literally took a photo of me. I don't want to fix my fucking gummy smile. Right? And she's basically saying, anyone who has this, you should feel self-conscious about this. Like, no, do not let like, and this last week has really taught me shown me where I was buying into that story. And I'm so of the belief now, I refuse to let the world tell me something is broken in me. I refuse to let the world tell me something is not beautiful, or like I can't take up space because I'm getting older, or like there's just such a grief I feel for women. Oh gosh. I love you.
I love you. I totally understand the feeling of grief, not just for yourself. I know that's been a feeling that I've felt when, I'm deeply committed and deeply connected to my work. but I have no idea what it's like to feel that around this topic. Like as a man, it doesn't register as much, or if at all, really. Like I've never had those feelings. So for you to be a stand for that and to speak on behalf of not just yourself, but the collective, the women, and like knowing that we're bringing a child into the world and we're going to be nurturing and guiding that child and exposing that child to life. Like I'm really clear on what stories I want that child to be told.
Oh my gosh, that really came through for me today. And like, you know, no matter what gender our child is, I feel it's a girl, but just like feeling into, I do not want our future daughters to constantly believe there is something wrong with the way God created them. Like, and the way they have been designed to take up space in the world, or like to feel like they have to look a different way to be valuable. Like, because that's the piece. That's so the piece, right? Or that's the piece I'm feeling from the pressure of that story. That's what I feel in my own body of, if I were to have a whatever the fuck you'd get to fix a gummy smile, if I was to have that, if I was to believe that story and let that story in, it would be, I would be a more valuable, desirable woman if I had that. Right? And maybe some people, you know, you'd feel better about yourself, but, and I cover my grays. Yes, it makes me feel better, but there is also underneath that a part of me that feels people would value me differently if I was to have, you know, a head of fully grey hair at 30 something. Like, that's the fucking truth. I think we like hide behind, and again, part of me doesn't want to offend anyone. But like, I actually want to call bullshit on, it just makes me feel good. Yes, you could feel good with having whatever it is, but underneath that feeling good is also the motherfucking story that you've been sold that you are less valuable with wrinkles. You are less valuable with whatever the fuck it is. And I think it's a woman that's just like so, it's so heartbreaking to feel that. And I also feel like a woman that is maybe less affected by that than other women. Like I don't follow celebrities. I'm not in the world where, you know, beauty is valued so, beauty in a very aesthetic, conventional sense is valued really deeply. I don't run in a lot of those circles. So I'm like, it just breaks my heart to just feel how many women are walking through life feeling this and having this story determine so much of how they're living.
And for their true radiance to be like deeply suppressed.
Yes.
Like,
because that's the sorry, I've said it. You go. You go.
You started saying a few of those things that you said I wasn't allowed to say too.
Oh,
didn't you? You got a bit fired up.
This is
I can't say it because you're the one that you have. It has to be you.
I think it's so easy for a man to say, "Don't get Botox" or "Don't do this" and "Don't do that." And there have even been moments for me where I'm like, oh my God, what would it be like to get Botox? Where like, I'm feeling insecure about this. I could just go somewhere and pay a few $100, stick needles in my face, and I wouldn't have to feel this feeling. But I'm a woman that's consciously choosing to feel the feeling of my face changing and having to be with that. Yeah. And I also think I'm going to take it somewhere totally different, and I want you to come back to radiance, but it's our fear of death. It's our fear of I was talking to Taj about this last week, and for those of you that haven't listened to that episode, it's so good. We speak about feminine shamanism and the truth of the feminine. And she was talking about the feminine being destructive. And when we're avoiding the feminine, we're avoiding death and decomposition. We are here to live, and our body decays in a way. That's the truth. That happens in nature. You can't just hold a flower in full bloom. The flower dies, right? And like we are trying to totally avoid the natural cycle of life, in which simultaneously, like, part of what makes I'm so emotional right now. But part of what makes a flower so beautiful is that it's not just like, it's like a blessing to witness the flower. And all stages of a flower is like beautiful. You know, the decomposing rose, they're like, it's all beautiful. And
which then returns to the earth and then feeds the next generation.
yes, and we as our culture just like celebrate and just value like that maiden, that youthfulness. And it's like we're like, we put so much value in that. And so then we try, and as soon as we might feel we're passing that stage, we don't give value in our culture to the elder, to, you know, to the mother, the crone energy. So as soon as we feel like we're passing that, the maiden beauty, the youthful beauty, it's like, how the fuck do I keep myself there? Because I don't want to go on to this next stage. I won't be valued in this next stage. I won't be celebrated in this next stage. And if we are buying into the story that culture is teaching us, that's true. We're going to believe that and it's going to feel that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like, I am choosing to be a woman, and this is going to be an active fucking practice. And this has come through so strong that refuses to believe that. Like, refuses to believe that. Refuses to believe that my value is going to decline as I age. My value is going to decline the more wrinkles I have. Like, no. And I think before you were talking about radiance, and I think that's something that, you know, is so important a piece here, because beauty is not just the aesthetic structure of your face or your body. Like, beauty is what radiates through your body. The way you're looking at me right now is really beautiful. Like, beauty is your body is the vessel that holds that beauty, and it just makes that like radiating possible.
And it's aliveness. It's radiating aliveness. The feminine is if the feminine is like is death, it has to be life as well.
Yeah.
In your body, yeah, like the beauty is radiated aliveness. And if there isn't radiance coming through you, and you have to present a certain way and manipulate yourself to feel that, or to present as that, or hold on to some way that you think you need to look, you completely deny the essence of who you are.
Yes.
And that's a feeling.
And I know for me, like, if I got to choose to be the most perfectly looking woman aesthetically, or a woman that radiates beauty, a truly radiant woman, I would always choose the radiant woman. And yet still I am someone like, and that's why this last few weeks has been a bit confronting, to be like, oh, I can still feel the part of me that thinks I need to choose that and thinks I need to be that. And like, I've always imagined myself as like a 70-year-old woman that's like wrinkly and like long gray hair, and like I can
in lingerie.
I can feel myself as that. And it's also really confronting to be like, I can't just click my fingers and be that. Like, I've got to meet every story that tells me it's not okay to be that along the way. And like, I've got to be the 40-year-old woman, the 50-year-old woman, the 60-year-old woman that's like growing into those wrinkles and like, you know, becoming that as well. And that feels scary. And it feels scary as a woman that's choosing to embrace that in a way. It is very confronting in an age where a lot of women get Botox, and a lot of women like I'm potentially going to be one of few women that if I'm with lots of other women, could be the only one with wrinkles. Right? And so, yeah, there's a lot to this conversation.
I'm excited by that. I'm excited to meet. I don't think we came, like, I often wonder, what did we come here for? Like, what, I contemplate a lot, and I'm like, I feel like, in my opinion, we're here to set the record straight in the way that we hold ourselves, in the way that we journey every step of the path. Like, every step of the path, like this journey that we take. And it's like you said, to be the 70-year-old wise woman, like medicine woman, like with stories with stories that go on and on and on, stories behind your eyes that when people look into you, they're looking into an infinite well of feminine wisdom. That doesn't you don't just get that at 70. That just doesn't turn on and you all of a sudden become this deeply, like this steward of the world. No, you get that through walking every fucking step. And if every step that you've taken is to try and hold on to something and look a certain way, you've spent all of your time trying to be something and layering yourself in things that aren't who you truly fucking are.
Yes.
And this is why I believe, we've been so drawn to certain cultures that really celebrate the elders and really celebrate the lineage and the ancientness of their culture. And for lack of better words, I think the Western world has been indoctrinated into this idea that there isn't value outside of these very specific parameters.
Yes, completely.
Yeah, which is what you're currently going through. The letting go of all that bullshit and standing up and being a stand for it. And I'm so fucking excited. The way you just spoke then, it was poetry. The way you just spoke, it was like on behalf of Mother Earth, the way you were speaking, talking about death and decomposition and life growing, but coming through, like that's truth. And it's real. And people need to hear that. And women need to hear that from a woman, not from a man. They need to hear it from a woman that's going through it. They need to, this is, I wouldn't have you speak on anything else. And
I think this is like I don't know, I haven't heard a lot of women talk about, I haven't seen a lot of conversations like this. And, or just like, I've seen conversations around like, don't use filters, all of the beauty standards, but not, I think it is. And this is why all of these things unfolded for me to have this conversation, is that we need more conversations where women are vulnerably sharing what it's like to be with the process of aging in a culture that celebrates youth. Like, we need more, and potentially they're out there. I'm just at a stage of life also where I'm meeting that. And even, my not knowing what, and not that this is a fear of mine, but like, I'm growing a baby. I'm like, maybe I'll look even more tight. Like, I don't know. There's just like I'm in an unknown state of life as well. And I just think these conversations are so important so women don't feel so alone in the heaviness of that story and the heaviness of the narrative that's being fed to them day after day after day. And again, if you want to go out in the world and, Botox and filler and do all of these things, I'm not saying you shouldn't, right? But I'm also saying, look at the story underneath that. There's a fucking story underneath that. Yeah? And it's not just because it feels good.
It's easy to use that statement.
Yeah.
Rather than dig deeper.
Yeah.
Like this is fucking shadow work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going in and like taking a real good hard look at why you're doing the things that you're doing. And then then making a decision from that depth of awareness.
Totally.
Which is kind of like you do that a lot. Which means that you have to feel a lot. And I would argue that not all of it's yours.
And that's been very clear for me in this experience. Like when I saw that woman screenshotting me, I'm like, I was crying. I wasn't crying for me. I wasn't crying for me. I was crying for all the women that believe that. All the women that are sold a photo, like an image that says like, You know, when the fuck, if we've never told a gummy smile is wrong or bad or needs to be fixed, we never fucking think there was something to be fixed. And I was even at the hairdresser today getting my hair washed. The two women beside me were going, I'm going to go get a lip flip on Monday because I hate my gummy smile. And they had this huge conversation about how much they hated their gummy smiles. And I was just like, who the fuck told you this? Like the way that's the painful thing. That like innately there's nothing wrong with that. Innately a gummy smile does not need fixing. If we were to own that, and you know, that doesn't have to be something that is broken. And that's the painful thing. That's the painful thing. And again, I don't have a solution to this. And for any woman that's choosing to be with the process of aging, right? I don't think that's going to be a comfortable process for any woman. I think there is beauty in it. And I think there is, you know, beauty in our body changing and beauty, but to get to the place where we can find beauty in our gray hair, find beauty in our wrinkles, that's not easy. Just like a medicine journey isn't easy. Just like, you know, being with any process of death and decay is not easy. But I also think that's the medicine journey of stepping into mother, stepping into crone energy, like these different these are a rite of motherfucking passage. And our society is so scared of being initiated.
Terrified.
So terrified of death and like change. Because this is, if we're like taking this into the macro, this is aging is a fear of death. And a fear of death is a fear of change, is a fear of
stages of life.
Who will I become through this, right? The holding on. Like, where can we release the grip and relax into where life is trying to take us? With our body, with the way we look. And again, I repeat, I'm not saying that's going to be, I'm not just saying like, have wrinkles and let yourself age and be happy about it. Look in the mirror and be like, look at my beautiful face. Like, no, feel everything that comes up, just like what I've been moving through. Feel the part of you that's like, what the fuck? I want to contract. I want to shrivel. I want to be small. I don't want to be seen.
Feel the ache, feel the loss, feel the grief, feel all of that. Like, that's part of it is the letting go.
Yeah.
And seeing that, like feeling, like hearing all of those things that you've shared, like there is like, yeah, your hair is turning grey.
Very grey.
And that's a journey that you're going on. That your face will slowly start to wrinkle. And that'll happen. And that's that. It's not that you have to be okay with it straight away. It's that you have to feel all of the things that tell you that that's not okay. And then come to a place where you can get to the point where you're like, this is who I am. And who I am is beautiful. And what moves through me when I accept myself deeply for who I am, that's when the radiance comes online. That's when you start to move and unfurl and reflect like the natural world.
Yes, when a woman is caught in that story of, okay, I need to perfect and change and do all these things so that I can be beautiful, that I believe that blocks a woman's natural radiance in coming through, right? It's trying to manipulate ourselves to look a certain way so that we can feel beautiful, right? And, you know, it is the resting into our feminine essence, the resting into an opening to who we're here to be. That is what is radiance. My loves, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We are jumping in to offer you a 50% off discount code to our signature couples course, Ignite Your Intimacy.
This course is for the couple that wants to develop skills, tools, and practices to deepen your connection. Maybe you're a couple that has really, really got a lot of love for each other, but you haven't really put the time and energy into cultivating that depth, cultivating that intimacy and creating the passion that you know is there to be activated.
Whether you've been together 6 months or 2 decades, this course is going to give you the skills and tools to experience a sexier, wilder, more alive relationship. And it's designed to do that in just 4 weeks. So my loves, the course is usually 444 Aussie dollars. You, as our loyal podcast listeners, are getting it for 222 Australian dollars. You are going to use the discount code LOVE50 at the checkout. That's all capitals, LOVE50, 50. You can either head to the show notes for the link or head on over to meg-o'neill.com/ignite-your-intimacy. And that's LOVE50 at the checkout for 50% off. I was watching the Barbie movie. I hadn't ever watched it until the other day. I watched it just here in an afternoon. Felt so tired this week.
Yeah. You've been sizing up this huge emotional release. You're probably going to feel you were tired before this. We'll hop off this podcast,
and I'll be like, "Let's go to Brisbane."
Yeah, and I'm like,
that gig.
and we've been going through the making sure that you feel chosen and repolarizing, making sure everything's it's just been going on. And I'm like, all right, take you to Brisbane to see a band, and you're like, before this podcast, I'm all tired. I don't know whether I'll be able to go. After this, you're going to be bouncing off the walls. You're going to be so happy because you felt what you need to feel.
I know.
Because you're here to be a leader. You're here to fucking speak on behalf of the women who don't have that voice yet, that haven't connected to that part of them. And that's who the fuck you are. You're here to take the arrows. You're here to upset people. You're here to upset the apple cart. You're here to fucking right the wrongs that have been written by probably men from this whole system. And it's created a fuckery, and our souls will not let us stand idle or stand by or choose some other mediocre or fucking miscellaneous path just to be able to pay the bills. We won't. We'll go down in a fucking blaze of glory. I would rather die in the pursuit of truth than live a lie. And I will not do that. And I feel that deep down, you're the reason that I live like this. So anytime you don't fucking remember that, it's, you normally end up tired and in resistance, and all you got to do is fucking bring this, all right?
Okay.
Brother? All right?
No.
We have a secret handshake.
I was watching the Barbie movie the other day, and there's this moment where Margot Robbie as Barbie, and maybe people have I'm just going to say one moment that I love from that movie. But Margot Robbie as Barbie has come out into the real world, and she's sitting at the bus stop, and only in Barbie world is there beautiful, perfect women. And she's sitting at this bus stop, Barbie, and she looks over, and there's this old woman, this 70, 80-year-old woman. And Margot Robbie just looks over to her and she goes, "You're so beautiful." And I just bawled. Because I'd just been there was just such a truth to that. Yes, there is such beauty in allowing that process, and the radiance that comes with just living. And that was just so moved by that moment. Yeah. And I think we can all, I think as women, and there's something else I want to come back to that you said to me the other day too, but as women, I think we can feel the fucking difference. The difference between a woman that might not be conventionally beautiful. She might have a gummy fucking smile. Maybe her eyebrows aren't aligned. Maybe, I don't know what, something else. Maybe she's got weird textured skin. I don't know. But she is taking up space, and you can feel her, and the world can feel her. Right? Versus a woman that is perfect looking, but you can't feel, isn't taking up energetic space for you to feel. Our world teaches us, be that woman. Be that woman that looks perfect. That's what value is. That's what you should want to be. No, we're being fucking lied to. Be the woman. Our goal should be the woman that wants to be fucking felt by life, wants to be felt by the world. like is freely, unapologetically taking up space and letting the world like meet her and feel her. Like that's what's desirable to a man. That's what's desirable to, or a deep man, a conscious man. Like, yes, he can appreciate beauty and perfection, but if that doesn't come with being able to feel, no. Would you agree?
Yeah, I probably, based on the fact that I feel my way through the world. I don't like walk up and touch people without consent, of course. But yeah, if I can see a woman that presents as societally pretty or beautiful or hot, and I can be completely and utterly neutral toward her based on my body feeling. But I can register, oh, you are societally beautiful, but I don't feel anything from you, and I'm not feeling that. But then there's other times where I'm drawn to, I can feel the magnetic pull of the feminine like drawing me in. I'm like, I need to go and talk to this woman. It happened the other day on the beach when there was a woman with a dog, and she was pregnant, and I was just like talking to her. I'm like, oh my God, you are so fucking beautiful.
Did you say that to her?
No, but in my head, I was just like feeling that. I was like, I was like, I want to talk. I want to do things for you. I want to be near you. And I think that is the way that the feminine moves the world, the feminine leadership. This is, what you're speaking to. It's not about saying, fuck the man, fuck men, or I'm going to present as this pretty, beautiful thing that looks this certain way to get what I want.
Yeah.
It's the feminine moves the masculine through her deep truth.
Yes. And adorn yourself. And like, if you want to do things that make you feel like, I like wearing nice things, and I do feel great when I have my hair done and all of these things. Yeah. Even the other day when I wasn't feeling great, and then you bought me clothes, and then I did my makeup and my hair, and I was like, oh, I feel hot. I feel really sexy. So like, I'm not denying that these like external things can allow us to feel a certain way and give us permission to open and offer more of our radiance.
That's self-care and self-expression. That's the key there that I'm hearing. It's like self-care and adorning and almost like creating these offerings to, in service to, the altar that is your body. It's like, I'm going to adorn you in this beautiful matching knit outfit, or I'm going to wear these things.
This matching knit.
Or I'm going to look after myself.
Yes.
That is a completely different thing to, I need to change the way that I look because the way that I look isn't right.
Yes. And then just one other piece I want to bring was the other day when I was in the throes of just feeling insecure, and I said to you, oh, I didn't like that a friend Kristen had taken a video, and I was like, I was sharing with you how I'd felt insecure, and I was just a bit like not feeling good about myself. And I was like, and I was just I was letting you in on like what was alive for me. I was just like, this feels really vulnerable, and I'm going to reveal what I've been moving through. And I was like, that video like Kristen tagged us in, I looked at that and I was like, oh, I really don't like the way I look. And you just looked at me and you were like, what? And there was so much genuineness to this.
Innocence.
There was such innocence and genuineness. And you were like, I looked at that and I literally thought, you look so beautiful. Like, my wife is so beautiful. And I think that's why it's like we as women need to realize it's a fucking lie what we've been sold. Like, what we've been taught to believe is we need to be, or what we've been taught to believe. Like, in that moment, my hair was frizzy. And I think even though I love my smile, I think I felt my smile, something looked weird. And you were like, I loved that. You looked so beautiful. And just think that's an important piece to bring to the conversation, that, our own insecurity, again, with the lip, with the, what do you call it? The gummy smile thing. I even told my beautiful friend who I was in conversation with at the markets, and I called her that afternoon to feel, you won't believe after our conversation what happened today. And she was like, what? If people asked me to rate the best smiles I've ever seen, yours would be top 3. And it's like, so everything's fucking subjective or objective? I never know.
I think
the difference.
everything's subjective. I think is like, I don't actually know.
I think it's subjective.
Yeah.
Don't correct us if we're wrong. Everything's subjective. I don't want to say that. Yeah, like who gets to fucking say that's beautiful and that's not?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and yeah. Yeah.
I think you're most beautiful when you give life full permission to flow through you.
And I feel that in myself, and I also, when I witness other women, the most beautiful women I feel are like, this is gonna make me cry again. Like before talking about like elders and that crone energy, I like love the work of Jane Hardwick Collins, and I got to be in, her space last year for like a pregnancy and birth workshop, and she'd be a woman in her 60s, grey hair. She's wearing this t-shirt that says revolutionary woman on it. She's just like badass. Like she swears. She was a midwife for years and then like got out of the system and is just like phenomenal, and teaches on rites of passage and the feminine and feminine shamanism. And I walked out of that space and I literally said to the women I was with, like, I've never seen a more beautiful woman. And that was actually one of the things that hit me most from that day, to be like, it was so refreshing to see a woman with wrinkles and even to look around that space. And, it was a very particular group of women, but like, there were women that were aging, women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and there were wrinkles, and there was, different bodies, and there was, mothers holding babies and breastfeeding, and like, there was just like the full spectrum of woman in its physicality, not just its emotion, but its physicality. And yeah, it just moved me so much being at that workshop to be like, I want to be like that. I want to be that woman in a sea of like, youthfulness. I want to be the woman that people are like refreshed by. And yeah, and then I had Jane on Inside Full Spectrum Woman, and again, I was just like, I respect and love that woman so much and what she stands for.
Just imagine what it's like at 70 and you're in Full Spectrum Woman and you've got hundreds of women sitting on a call with you or sitting in a room with you. Imagine what it's like to be 70 and have like your daughters and the nieces sitting around you, and you're like sharing deep wisdom because you chose to live in alignment with the truth, and you chose to let go of any stories and feel the losses that you needed to feel and embrace the next chapters. Imagine what it's like that's 50 years, that's like 40 years time, my love. Imagine what it's like after a lifetime of feeling this and traversing these deep moments of feeling. Imagine what it's going to be like, what you're going to be able to impart and share with the world through a devotion to your truth. Like that's fucking, like that to me is going to be I look forward to the journey and the moment that I get to. I'll probably be in the kitchen helping out or doing something. Will I be able to be there, or is it just women only?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Do you like going and zooming out that big?
Sometimes that scares me.
Does it?
That scares me, and I'm like, oh God, I haven't thought of that.
That's
I haven't thought about what I'm going to be doing when I'm 70. I definitely know how I want to feel when I'm 70. I know there's going to be grandchildren and like, but yeah, I probably don't take my work out or like my vision out to that far. But I don't know. So I think a conversation like this widens my work and widens my vision and like what I really want to be in conversation around.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. I wanted to say something and I don't remember what it was. No, dude. That is what we've been told. A valuable woman is a woman that looks aesthetically a certain way. A valuable woman is a woman that lets life, like lets life move through her and is consistently saying yes to the process of like life and death and rebirth and decay and all of it. Like she's allowing life to make her more of her. Like she's letting life evolve her and mold her. Like that's a radiant, beautiful, valuable woman.
She's
and every woman is fucking valuable, but I'm sure you get the essence of what I'm saying here. Like, can we celebrate that is true value?
That is, to me, that what you're talking about is like that's surrender.
Yeah.
I'm surrendering to life.
Yeah.
And in surrendering to life, I must embrace these cycles of death and rebirth that allow me to become more of the woman, not more of a woman, but I get to experience more of the spectrum of woman.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I love you. This has been.
Do you know how important your work is for the world? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you?
Sometimes.
Do you forget sometimes as well? Like this is revolutionary. Like these conversations, the people that listen to this are going to be deeply moved, and this isn't just for you and just for the women now. This is for our baby that's in your belly. Imagine what she's already getting to feel and receive from you because you're choosing to do this. Imagine how incredible it's going to be. To like steward the next generation.
Yeah.
How lucky are we?
I love you so much.
You're the best.
Thanks for being here for this teary, emotional. I thought I was going to get way more fiery. It was just like me moving through the depths of grief.
The fire's coming.
No, I think I felt the fire yesterday.
Oh, you felt the fire yesterday.
I think the grief is what is underneath that too. I've been really wrapped up in grief. I've been really immersing myself in the topic of grief. And they say that the true beauty only comes from grief, which is the feeling of loss, which is the feeling of letting go, which is the feeling of like, for me, it's like a life well lived is the one that has had grief of like grief woven into it and not avoided. And like you said, that idea of being, this all being rooted in a fear of death means that we're also avoiding grief. Yeah.
And when you grieve, you're just like beaming right now. Your eyes are clear. Your smile is big. Your heart is open. Your belly, everything. I can feel you.
Yeah.
I can feel your presence right now, and it makes me want to go and do better. Makes me want to live my life in more deeply connected to the truth. Like it's inspiring, my love. So thank you for choosing to grieve and reveal the deeper beauty that is always there.
I love you. Thanks for holding me and being a part of.
Life's a trip, hey.
Wild.
Yeah.
I love doing it with you. I love doing it with you guys. We love you and appreciate you. And if this conversation moved you, come find me in the DMs. I'd love to continue it in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. This is an ongoing conversation. This is something that I'm really excited to support you in standing for, and we'll be here for all of the arrows and all of the challenges and all of the things that come, because this is what I'm devoted to. I love this energy. I'm here for it. Let's fucking go. And one more
request, if you're moved by this conversation, wherever you listen to the podcast, whether it's on YouTube or Apple or wherever, we would love you to subscribe and review. This just helps these conversations
please
expand out, especially because I'm censored and shadow banned on Instagram.
Get the word out there for us. We would really appreciate it.
We would. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bless up. Big
Bye.
love. Peace.